The Weight of Silence by Heather Gudenkauf. Chapter 22. Deputy Sheriff Lewis. Fitzgerald and I step out into the Gregory's front yard, the sun nearly directly above us, hidden slightly behind an enormous maple tree. A perfect climbing tree, Tony would say. Jesus, Fitzgerald says in an exasperated voice, and I steel myself for criticism of the way I just handled the last 3 minutes in the Gregory house. How can you stand this sound? Fitzgerald says disgustedly. What sound? Those bugs. It sounds like millions of insects chewing on something. It makes my skin crawl. Fitzgerald pulls out a pack of cigarettes and taps one out, holding it between his slender fingers. They're cicadas, I explain. It's vibrations, the noise they make. It's their skin pulled tight over their bodies. It's annoying. How can you stand it? I suppose the same way you get used to all the noise in the big city. It's just there. You don't really notice it after a while. Fitzgerald nods and lights his cigarette. Do you mind? He asks after the fact. No, go ahead, I reply, and we both stand there, listening to the cicadas' anxious song. You feel bad, Fitzgerald observes. Yeah, I do, I respond blatantly. It needed to be said. The thing about the McIntyre girl. They need to know that it's a possibility. Give them a few minutes to let it settle in their minds, and they'll be ready to go forward. There's no way they will accept their little girl could have been lured from her home, raped and murdered. But the possibility will be there, and they will be out here in a moment, ready to fight like hell to find her, to prove that's not what happened. We need to bring in search dogs, organize a formal search, I tell him, knowing this is already on his mind. I agree. We can get a trained hound and handler from Madison, or even Des Moines, down here by late this afternoon, Fitzgerald responds, taking a deep pull of his cigarette. The families are not going to want to hear about a search dog. Sounds too much like we'll be looking for bodies, I say, not relishing the thought of being the one to relay the information to the Gregorys and Tony. What's your gut feeling on this one, Lewis? Fitzgerald asks me, leaning against an old oak tree. I shrug. Not sure, but between you and me, I would look at Tony's husband a little more closely. He's a shady character, a drinker. Rumor has it he can be violent. Violent in what way? Like I said, just rumor. Tony doesn't talk about it. There's never been a domestic call. Several drunken disorderlies on Griff, and one DUI. Just something to keep in mind as all this unfolds, I say wearily. Good to know, Fitzgerald says, looking off toward Tony's house. Days like this, I wished I smoked, I say, eyeing his cigarette. Days like this, I wish I didn't, Fitzgerald replies as Martin Gregory steps outside his home. I'm sorry, Martin apologizes. We're ready to go on. Tell us what you need to know. Please, come in.